Okay, for this research methodology class, okay, my parts is on the introduction and problem formulations. Okay, so may I know how many of you are master by research student? If I'm not mistaken, out of 15, okay? Or all of you are PhD students? Hello? Okay, Ibrahim. Ibrahim, you are a PhD student.
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, good, good. Okay. So I assume all of you are PhD students, eh? Okay.
Yes, Prof.
Okay. Ifa, Dian,
Yes, sir.
Ayati. Okay, okay. Surah. Okay. 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 So this is my phone number and my email. Okay. So you can text me if you have any problems. So we go for on the first part. Okay, and the introductions. Okay. Okay. Before I begin. Okay. So let me introduce myself. Okay. So I have graduated from the University of Sheffield. Okay, in 2011. Okay, almost 11 years ago. Okay. So this is right after my Viva session or oral examinations. Okay. So this is my uh, first supervisor. Okay, former first supervisor, Dr. Hurt. Okay. So this is the external examiner, Dr. Crick from University of Manchester. Okay. And sorry, Dr. Crick. Okay. And then this is Dr. Cripps. Okay. The internal examiner from University of Sheffield. Okay. And this is my second former supervisor. Okay, Dr. Black. Okay. So the sessions took about 4 hours. Okay. So the examiner look from the first page, okay, until to the last page. Okay. So they start to ask question related to the topic uh, of my thesis. Okay. So to assess the what we call as the understanding, okay, throughout my PhD works. Okay. So this picture, okay, let me use the what we call as a pointer. Okay. So this picture is taken, okay, I guess after I submit my thesis. Okay. Before the oral examinations. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So this is my wife. Okay. And yeah, we arrived in Sheffield in 2007. Okay. So that time, this is my eldest son, Omar. Okay. So that time, Omar is 1 years old. Okay. And then we got the second son. Okay, Wise. Okay. So a month before we back to Malaysia. Okay, we went back to Malaysia. So my wife delivered another kids. Okay, is a daughter, Hafsah. Okay, so now Omar is 16 years old. Okay, Wise is 14 years old. Hafsah is 11 years old. Okay, and then I have another son. Okay, Usaid. Okay, Usaid is now is 6 years old. Okay, it's very challenging process. Okay, during my PhD program. Okay, so I took 4 years to complete my PhD. Okay, I have a weekly meeting. Every week I have a meeting with my supervisor. So you can count how many meetings that I have. Okay. So yeah, it's very challenging. Okay. And then Dr. He is a typical English person. Okay. So yeah, yeah, Alhamdulillah, I completed my PhD. Okay. After a very stressful 4 years periods. Okay. Okay. So the topic of my PhD is on the behavior of weak soil reinforced with soil columns formed by the deep mixing methods. Okay. So it is related to a geotechnical field. Okay. So where I use this kind of method, we call as a soil seaming columns. Okay. To improve or to enhance the engineering characteristic of the weak or of the soft soil. Okay. So it is a small scale physical modeling test, okay, that I've conducted during my PhD. Okay. So this is the testing, we call it as a testing chamber. Okay. So then consolidated or prepare the sample by consolidating it in this testing chamber. Okay. And then use this kind of driving units, okay, to apply a load on this soft ground model. Okay. So during the testing, so I'm using this what we call as digital camera, okay, DSLR, okay, to capture the image under a continuous shooting mode. Okay. So then from the testing, okay, so a part of the result, okay, I have produced this kind of failure mechanism modes, okay, by using what we call as a particle image velocimetry. Okay, so I need to understand a little bit on what we call as on a programming, okay, by using the MATLAB. Okay, okay. Perhaps some of you may use the MATLAB or whatever programming language, okay, during your PhD. Okay. So I use the MATLAB, okay, and then try to come up with this kind of what we call as failure mechanism mode. Okay. So actually this failure mechanism, okay, has been developed or proposed by Prandtl in 1921. Okay. So it is almost 100 years, okay, that somebody could come out with a very and accurate methods. Okay. What I mean this is accurate because we can get the magnitudes, okay, of each vector. Okay. Because previously, okay, some of the researcher, okay, for example, using a noodle, you know noodle that you eat, we call as a mee, okay, or Maggie mee, okay. They put a noodle, okay. So noodle when they apply the loads, so the noodle will bend together uh, with the mode of the failure. Okay. So at the end they can they can show the pattern, but they cannot accurately measure what we call as the movements, okay, in millimeter. Okay. So this method actually has been developed by Professor White uh, from from Cambridge during his PhD study. Okay, so he has developed these methods. Okay, um, if I'm mistaken, in early 2000. Okay, and then I use this method. Okay, to 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 prove. Okay, the same failure mechanism that has been developed by Prandtl. Okay. So at the same time, I look on the what we call as on the column failure mode. Okay. So after do the dissections, okay, and then um, I draw, I look for each columns how the method of the failure, okay, and then uh, put a finding, okay, that most of the what we call as this is a fully penetrated types, okay, having uh, bulging, sorry, not having shearing, okay, and move outside, okay, while the center have a great shearing modes, okay, after the failure, uh, after it reach the failure state. Okay. So this is what I have explored, okay, during my PhD period. Okay. Okay. So the course outcome, okay, of this research methodology uh, subject, okay. So we try to provide a very comprehensive, okay, the student should have a comprehensive understanding on all aspects of research, okay. A guide on how to conduct research in a systematic way, okay. A guide to solve and analyze data and result, okay. A guide on writing techniques and presentation skills, okay. So there will be a several topic, okay. So I will cover on the first two parts, which is under the introductions and problem formulations, okay. While the rest will be lecture by Dr. Hisham, Prof. Nordin, and Prof. Azmi. Okay? So they will cover on the literature review, research design, result and analysis, writing and presentation, evaluating of research and thesis, and the last one is the research organizations. Okay. So the assessment, there will be no assessment. Okay, actually because this slide I have been prepared for the uh, for 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 the master by top course students. Okay, so for the master top course students, so they need to prepare a research proposal which is cover the introduction, literature review, and methodology. Okay, but for your case, no need for you to prepare. There will be no assessment. Okay, um, because you will be provided either fail or pass only. Okay. So basically in your thesis, okay. So normally you may have five chapters. Okay. So the first chapters is introduction, then the second is the literature review, then followed by methodology. Okay. Then there will be a result and discussions, and the last one is the conclusion and recommendations. Okay. So that's the typical five chapters for your PhD thesis. Okay. So I would like to share the structure of the typical type of thesis. Okay. So where you have a chapter one, okay, discuss on the introductions. Okay. So on the introduction, you need to define the problems. Okay. What is the purpose of your study? Okay. Research question. Okay. It depends. Okay. But under the UTM format, it's not compulsory to have these research questions. Okay. And actually, this is the typical structure. Okay. And you may not follow from this example. Okay. So perhaps you can get the structure or the outline, okay, from your supervisor, okay. But this is just a general outline for the for the thesis. Okay. So definitions of terms, okay. Normally we put on the abbreviations, okay, on the earlier section, okay. Limitation of the study, okay. Assumptions, okay. We also can put in the same subsections on the limitation of the study, okay. Organization of the study or thesis, okay. So you need to explain chapter 1, what is the content, chapter 2, 3, 4, 5 in one paragraph only. Okay. So the chapter 2 is more related to the review of related literature and research. Okay. So as a suggestion, begin with a listing of the subsection of the literature review. Okay. Use frequent heading to help reader follow your organizations. Okay. Then the most important thing is to come up with a summary, okay, to address what is the research gap. Okay. So perhaps Dr. Isham will discuss on this issue. Okay. Okay. So methodology, okay. As a suggestion, begin with a paragraph explaining the purpose of this chapter. Okay. So you should have a paragraph under introduction. Okay. So purpose of the study, but avoid to repeat the same sentence or paragraph from the previous chapter. Okay. So you need to rephrase, okay, if you want to, what we call as to explain again, but avoid to repeat the same sentence. Okay. Research question, okay, review. I guess the point 2, 3, 4 is not important. Okay. Okay. So then the method that you use, okay, so it's better to put in what we call as in flow charts, okay, or framework. Okay. So you need to put in the very good flow charts. Okay. So what method that you use, okay, if you use a what we call as a laboratory equipment, okay. So okay, Hidayah, okay, there, you raising your hand. Do you have any question there?
No, sorry, Doctor.
Okay, no problem. Okay. Uh, okay. Yeah. What type of material? What type of perhaps the material? Okay. Okay. For my case, I'm using what we call a kaolin clay. So I need to explain the type of the material that I'm using. Okay. In terms of the engineering properties. Okay. And then what type of methods or equipment, okay, that you may use. Okay. So you need to explain. Okay. If you need to draw a diagram, we call it schematic diagrams. Okay. So it's better. Okay. So that the examiner or the reader can fully understand how the device work. Okay. And you need to make sure that you have a very good you need to address the calibrations system or calibration work. Okay, for example, if you use the what we call as a load cell, okay, so you need to calibrate the device first. Okay, because the methodology is very important. Okay, if the examiner find out there are no problems, okay, or uh, uh, you fully do the experiment according to any previous work or any what we call as standard. Okay, for example, in our case, we are using the British standard. Okay, or we can use ASTMs. Okay, so you need to address all this kind of procedure. Okay, so if the examiner is happy with the chapter 3, which is under the methodology, okay, so normally he can uh, fully accept, okay, your chapter 4, okay, because the chapter 4 is about on your result, okay. So if your result or if your method show problems, okay, it's not follow the what we call as the correct way, okay, so there will be a problems in terms of the result later on, okay. So from my experience, okay, so okay, Anis,
Yes, sir.
okay,
Sir,
Anis, what is your question, Anis?
sir, I have an issue. My QR code is not working. If I'm
Sorry.
my attendance QR code is not working. It is showing a student record not found. I don't know why.
Okay, Anis,
Yes, sir.
you may sort it later, okay. You need to discuss with the postgraduate office, okay, Anis.
Yeah.
Let you make contact with the postgraduate office staff.
Okay. Postgraduate office first.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So I'm calling them right now
No. Right after our class, Anis.
after class. Okay. Okay.
Yes. Okay, Anis. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Okay. Ibrahim. Yes, Ibrahim. Ibrahim.
No, doctor. I don't have any question.
Because
Thank you.
you raise your hand, Ibrahim. Raising your hand.
No.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Okay. Okay. And then for the finding, okay. Yeah, you need to present your result. Okay, perhaps you may use a graph or table. Okay, so at the same time, okay, you need to explain. Okay, in terms of the patterns. Okay, um, and then compare with the previous study. Okay, especially in your chapter 2. Okay, so does the pattern show the same good agreement with the previous one, okay, and then you need to provide the answer, okay, if they have a difference. For example, if you run for validation using a numerical software, okay, then you need to provide the answer, okay, why the laboratory work result is different with the numerical result, okay. For example, for my case, okay, sorry, I need to back. Okay. So for my case, okay, I'm using this what we call as a testing chamber, okay. Then I need to validate the result by using a software, geotechnical software. At that time, the Sheffield University has developed a new software they call as a limit state geo. Okay. So it is based on the limit it is based on the ultimate limit state approach or the upper bound and the lower bound solutions. Okay? So then I found there are a slightly difference, okay, between both result, and definitely there will be a slightly difference. Okay, so I need to explain, okay, why this difference, why they have this kind of difference. Okay, for example, I explained that, okay, from my laboratory testing, okay, there is a friction, okay, between the wall and the soil. Okay, so for example, this wall has been made by an aluminium, okay, for the side and the back wall, okay, while the front wall it is made by a perspex. Okay, so I need to find how much the friction between the wall and the soil by using what we call as a shear board test. Okay, I guess for those who are doing on the geotechnical study, okay, so they know the equipment of this shear board. Actually, you learn during your undergraduate. Okay, so I put the perspec at the bottom and the soil at the top, and then we start to shear. We start to shear the sample, and then from there I gain the value, and then I need to use a mathematical formula. Okay, so to get the value, okay, um, due to the friction of the wall. Okay, then I put the value, okay, in the calculation. Okay, and then I can reduce, okay, the difference. For example, if the difference previously is 10 kPa, okay, and then I can reduce to 5 kPa. Okay, and the rest I discuss on the type of the model that has been used in the software. Okay, because the software use what we call as a plastic limits, a elastic plastic approach, while in the lab we dealing with the real soil conditions. Okay? So that's very important for us to explain why the difference occur. It's not just we get the result and do the comparison without discussing on the difference between both methods. Okay. Okay. So, and the last one is the summary and conclusion discussion, and then you may have recommendations. Okay. So actually the conclusions, okay. For example, if you have 3 or 4 objectives, okay. So you need to answer of each objective, okay, in the chapter 5. Okay. For example, objective 1, okay, you want to determine the strength of the bearing capacity of the soil after this treatment. Okay. So then in your summary, sorry, in your conclusion, okay, so you need to mention in terms of what the value that you gain, okay, by comparing with the untreated condition, okay, with the treated conditions. Okay. So then the objective number 2, okay, you want to look on the microstructure behavior, for example, okay. So then you may explain in 1 or 2 paragraph, okay, what is your finding for the objective number 2, okay, and then continue with the objective number 3 and objective number 4, okay. Then definitely based on your limitation, okay, you need to come up with your recommendations, okay. So in order to guide for the future researcher, okay, okay, if he or she want to continue, okay, for the same topic and have some a little bit improvements, okay, so then he or she can refer to your recommendation work. Okay, so that is a typical structure, okay, for the what we call as uh, for the thesis. Okay, so the last topic or the last subsection is on your reference. Okay. So in UTM, normally we use the Harvard style, okay, which is using the name and then the year. Okay, not using the numbering style. Okay. Okay, so that is the structure for the thesis. Okay. Okay. Then we go to the introduction part. Okay. So I try to finish for our today class until 3 because I have another class at 3. Okay. So I can skip some of the slide, okay, where you can go through right after my class later on. Okay. Okay. Or if you have any question, okay, so you can interrupt during my lecture. Okay. So or you have any idea or any good suggestions, okay, or any comment, so you can interrupt me, okay, during my lecture. Okay. Or okay. Okay, what is research? Okay, it's very general question. Okay. And I will begin with a sum of case. Okay, and then I need to hear your feedback. Okay. Okay. For example, for case number 1, okay. So Encik Samad prepare a paper on computer usage in secondary school. Okay. After reviewing literature on the subject available in his university library and called it a piece of research. Okay. What do you think? Any guess? Okay. Is it a research or not?
No, doctor.
No, eh? Okay, why?
He did not discover anything new. Only
Okay.
access current information.
Okay, nice. Okay. Zul, eh? Zul. Zul?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, Zul. Okay. Okay, thank you, Zul, eh? Okay. Yes, I do agree. Okay. But we can say it is a part of a research element there, okay, where they use literature, where Mr. Samad do some literature activities, okay. Okay. So, but we could not consider it is a research, okay. Okay. So, Ibrahim? Ibrahim?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, then.
Yes.
Okay, you want to
I,
continue?
yes. I think he needs some empirical data to
Okay.
call it a research, right?
Good, good. Okay. Okay, good. Thank you, Ibrahim. Okay. Okay. Um, okay. But okay. You uh you can produce something actually from when you do a literature review. Okay. You can produce what we call it as a review article. Okay. Okay. This review article actually you can submit to a journal. Okay. But you need to do a very good review article, okay, and then you need to compare. For example, uh, what will be the difference between the several previous study, okay, and what is still a gaps that's not been filled by any researcher, okay. So my suggestion, okay, I guess most of you are still under first or second semester, or most of you are first semester or second semester. Ibrahim, are you in second? Huh?
First semester, sir, Prof.
Okay,
Ahmad.
first. So majority, so all of you are under first semester.
First semester.
Okay,
Yes.
Semester, Doctor.
okay, good. Okay. So then you can prepare a very good review articles, okay? But you need to have at least a minimum of 60 articles that you have review. Okay. So okay, thank you, Joe Knights. Okay. Yeah, I have prepared several research review articles. Okay. So it's very thick in terms of the page number. Okay. 40 or 50 pages. Okay. Yeah, with a double spacing. Okay. With a font 12. Okay. It also 40 to 50 pages. Okay. With then submit to the what we call as to the journal. Okay. So at least you have something from your chapter 2 that you can submit to the for publications. Okay. Or you can prepare this kind of article and then submit to the conference. Okay. Because for the PhD student, okay, prior to your what we call as to your viva sessions or prior to your thesis submissions, you need to have two I'm not sure to 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 refer articles, okay, and the journal, sorry, the proceeding can also be count, okay, but make sure you put your name at the first, okay. For example, Ibrahim should be on the first, and then followed by your supervisor and other student or another researcher, okay. So you have one article from your review, sorry, from your literature review, okay, section, okay. Okay, clear. Okay. So at the same time, okay, um, beside you are doing your literature review, so you should also start for your laboratory testing. Okay. So my experience, yeah, I waste almost one semester, okay, doing a literature. Okay. But you can make use of your times, okay, by conducting a trial test. Okay. Okay, for example, during my PhD, okay, I put almost 16 testing in my thesis. Okay. But in in reality, okay, I have spent more than 20 testing because the rest is not a very good result. Okay. So it could not be put in our in the thesis. Okay. So during your first semester, so you need to familiar with the setup or whatever device that you may use. Okay. At the same time, during on the night, okay, because the lab is closed, so you need to you may use you may spend your time for the for doing the review. Okay. So at the same time, you need to discipline yourself. You need to work from 8 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon. So you need to spend at least 40 hours, 40, okay, in a week. Okay. That's the way how I discipline myself, okay, during my PhD. And I completed in 4 years, okay, after spend that kind of times. Okay. And during the testing, okay, I start at the 8 in the morning and I back at 3 in the morning and then come back at the 8 in the morning and back at the 3 in the morning. Okay. So I only spend 5 hours back to rest and then come back again. Okay. Okay. But it depends. It depends on the nature of your study. Okay. But I guess 8 to 5 is compulsory. Okay. Okay. And the system in UTM is a little bit different. Okay. So when I was in Sheffield, okay, so there are no what we call is a very good supporting system in terms of the helper which is the helper from the undergraduate or from the master by top course students. So it relies on myself only to carry out for the study. Okay. But in here, okay, you can discuss with your supervisor, okay, that for example, if you want a helper, okay, not it's not very good to use the helper, but you need to have a colleague, okay, to help you, okay. For example, for the perhaps the the undergraduate student, which is the final year student, okay, can help you, okay. So he or she can take a little bit part from the whole of your study. Okay. For example, you have 20 tests. Okay, perhaps he can make use 1 or 2 tests for his final year project. Okay, same with the master by top course student. Okay. Uh, he or she can use some topics and some testing from by helping you, okay, for his or for he or she master project, okay. But you need to discuss with your supervisor, okay. So that is the different structure between when I was in UK and what I have implement now for my postgraduate students. Okay. Okay. Any question now? Okay. So yeah, we have a very lot uh slides. Okay. But I will go through and I will skip if it's not very important. Okay. Okay, Encik Ali say that he has researched and complete a document which give information about each of his students, their SPM result, their parents' incomes and distance of their schools from homes. Okay, what do you think? Hello? Yes or not?
I think it's not research because there isn't any novelty here in Pro.
Okay, nice. Good. Okay. But yeah,
There's no
it has,
doubt, Doctor.
okay, thank you very much. Okay. So but it has some element of research procedure, okay. So where we can call as a data collection. Okay. So he gather all the informations, but actually he Encik Ali should analyze or should do something and then come up with the finding. Okay. But definitely the novelty that Anis said is more related to a PhD. Okay. But the research, we need to follow the scientific way or systematic way. Okay. Yeah, it's very hard to make sure that all the research has a novelty. Okay. So the novelty is related only on the PhD study. Okay. So either is a major or minor. Okay, it depends on the nature of the study. But definitely, from my experience, we just only could have a minor contribution or minor novelty only, because most of the study has been carried out or conducted by the previous researcher. Okay. Okay. Mr. Wilson participated in the workshop on curriculum development and prepared what he called a research report on the curriculum for building technicians. He did his through a literature survey on the subject and by discussing with the participants of the workshops. Okay. What do you think? Hello?
Sir, I think again it's not a research.
Okay, good. Okay. Okay. And for this case, okay, I do agree, okay. But there are some element of research activity there, okay, where Mr. Wilson, okay, have uh, carry out for a good methodology process, okay. He carry out for the literature survey and also get the feedback from the participants, okay. But maybe Mr. Wilson has not organized it and come up with a good finding from 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 uh, from from the survey that he has carried out. Okay, but it is not a full research, but it still have some element of research activity there. Okay, so the first one is more on a review. The second one is more on data collections. Okay, and the third one is more on how Mr. Wilson carry out for a survey. Okay. So the second one is more related to by using a secondary data. Okay. Perhaps some of you may use a secondary data. Okay. And then use whatever tools, statistical tools or ANN, okay, to analyze the result. Okay. Okay, but make sure that the data that you use, okay, is following this the the standards from, for example, from the British standard or from the ASTM. Okay. And then the last one is more related to how Mr. Wilson carry out his own survey, okay, to get all the informations and put in his reports. Okay. Okay. So none of the above cases can be classified under the name research. Okay. But for me, um, we can consider this is a part of the research activity. Okay. But it's not a full research type. Okay. Okay. So definitely, this one can be considered as a research. Okay. Um, a general manager of a car producing company was concerned with the complaints received from the car user that the car they produce have some problems with rattling sound at the dashboard and the rear passenger seat after a few thousand kilometers of drivings. Okay. So this general manager, okay, have a concerns. So when we look on this case number 4, okay, so we can identify there that there is a problems. Okay. From the previous case, so we cannot identify, okay, what is the research problem there. Okay. So just data collections, okay, and what how they use all the informations to solve any problems is not very clear. Okay. But for this case, okay, there is a what we call as a research problem there. Okay. Based on the complaints. Okay. So as a general manager, okay, so he tried to solve these problems. Okay. So we look on what is the step that has been used by this general manager, okay, to solve this kind of problems. So from there, we can say either it is research or not. Okay. Okay. So that is the problems. Looking at problem and then seeing a problems. Okay. And how to solve it. Okay. So this is the what we call it, what the general manager try to do. Okay. So he obtained informations from the company workers, okay, to identify the various factors influencing the problems. Okay. So I highlight there, identify. He then formulated the problems and generate guesses. We call it as a hypothesis. Okay. He construct checklist and obtain requisite information from the representative sample of car. Okay. Then he analyzed the data those collected. So from the data that he's collected, he interpret the result in the light of his hypothesis and reach conclusions. Okay. So this is the steps that's been carried out by this general manager. Okay. So what do you think?
So these are the steps to do a research, doctor, right?
Yes, yes. Okay. So then we can understand there. Okay. Okay. If somebody want to carry out for a good research, okay, so he or she needs to follow this kind of scientific steps. Okay. Identifying, okay, formulated the problems, construct the checklist, okay, analyze the data, and interpret the data, and then come up with the conclusions. Okay. So this is a typical scientific way or scientific methods, okay, that we can use, okay, okay, during our PhD period. Okay. Okay. So case 4 is an example of research, okay, because the researcher went through a sequence of steps which were in order and those systematic. Okay. The researcher did not just jump at the conclusions, but used scientific methods of inquiry in reaching at conclusions. Okay. And the main thing is the case number 4 has a problems that need to be solved. Okay. So although the problem is not, we can consider it's not a new problems, okay, or in other words we use a novelty, But by using the sequence of steps and not just come to the conclusions, so we can consider it's show a research way to solve the problems. Okay. Okay. So from there, we can understand, okay, the meaning of the research, okay, which is a systematic process, okay, to find answer of to problems. Okay, then you can go through later on, okay, investigate the problems, database, critical scientific inquiry, okay, effort, systemize effort, collecting, analyzing information, concern or interest. Okay. Okay, needed information and of data firsthand or data that are already available. Okay, so as I told you before, make sure that if you want to use a secondary data, make sure it follow what we call as the standard procedure. Okay, because yeah, I used to be what we call as external or internal examiner for the PhD or for the master students. Okay, so some of the student use the secondary data. Okay, and then we try to understand. Okay, does the data that he or she used is following the standard procedure. Okay. Okay, because if you carry out by your own, okay, definitely you may follow the procedure. Okay, and if you carry out by your own, you need to make sure that you explain the calibration process. Okay, uh, how the data or the result has been retrieved. Okay, so you need to have a lot of diagram to show that how the system works. Okay. 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 The objective of the research is to discover answer through the application of scientific procedure. Okay. So this is the type of the research that commonly that we have. Okay. Explanatory or formulative research. Okay. With their own objective to gain familiarity with a phenomenon or to achieve new insight into it. Okay. So it is more related to exploratory or formulative research. Okay. So to portray accurately the characteristic of particular individual, situation or group, so they call as a descriptive research. Okay. So so this is some of the example there. Okay. But for our case, okay, we are more on the applied research, okay. Um, by referring to the to the fundamental knowledge, okay, and then we applied it, okay, because we are under an engineering disciplines, okay. So we more related to the applied research, okay. Okay, so systematic research is systematic because it follows certain steps that are logical in order. These steps are understanding the nature of problems. Okay, normally in the chapter 1, okay, so we need to address what is the nature of the problems that we want to solve. Okay, so for example, for my case, okay, there are a lot of ground improvement methods. Okay, and then I choose what we call as the deep mixing method or soil seaming column methods. Okay. And based on the previous study, okay, is very limited study has been carried out on the floating types. Okay. So the common study that has been carried out by the previous researcher is more related to the end bearing, which is the column touch the hard layer. Okay. So the floating is means that the soil is not reach any hard layer. Okay. So in that case, I do a very comprehensive study to look on the behavior of the floating type of problems. Okay. So that is the problems that I want to investigate. Okay. Then review literature to understand how others have approached or deal with the problems. Okay. On the literature review part, okay, okay, you need to explain, okay, okay, beside you explain the very for example, the engineering characteristic of the problems. Okay, you also need to include, okay, several previous study, okay, related to the same topic that you are now investigating. Okay. Okay. For example, for my case, okay, I collect all the information from the previous study. Okay. And in geotechnical field, okay, we have a different several types of modeling process. Okay. For example, for my case, I'm using the small scale modeling test, okay, which is I carry out in the lab, okay, and there are another methods where they use a centrifuge, okay. We also can consider a small scale, but they use a centrifuge, okay, in order to simulate the same gravity accelerations with the field at the field. Okay. Okay, I will not go in detail. Okay. So there is a centrifuge modeling testing. Okay. And then they also have a full scale testing. Okay. So first we have a small scale, which is, we call as a 1G, which is under a normal gravity condition. So we have a centrifuge, okay, because the application of these deep mixing methods, okay, normally used to treat up to 60-meter height of a soil layer, or up to 60-meter thickness of a soil layer. So then by using a small scale, so we scale down the thickness or the length of the columns. Okay. So to simulate the same condition under the small scale, using some of the research you use the centrifuge approach. Okay. So to get the real conditions at the on the deep mixing method, so they carry out for the full scale testing. Okay. So at the same time, some of the researchers use a numerical modeling. Okay. Or perhaps there are some study use what we call as a mathematical or analytical approach. Okay, they come up with the formula, okay, and then they can estimate what we call as the bearing capacity by using the formula. Okay, so there will be another model they call as a constitutive modeling. Okay, but that is under a very fundamental study. So for example, if there are no study has been made under the small scale testing. Okay. So it doesn't mean that our study has not been carried out by another approach of model. Okay. For example, I can claim that there are no studies being carried out by using the small scale. Okay. But I need to make sure that there are no studies being made by using another different type of model. Okay. So in that case, if I confirm there are no studies being made by using another approach, so I can consider it is a novel. It has its own novelty. Okay. Are you clear or not?
Yes, sir. Clear. Sir.
Okay. So you need to go or review all the related study. Okay. Although you are not carry out for that kind of testing. Okay, that is for geotechnical field. Perhaps I guess for structure, okay, for example, if you run for the full scale, okay, so you need to look on the numerical or any mathematical approach. Okay, is there any study has been carried out, okay, on the same topic but using a different approach. Okay, so if there is a study, okay, using a same a different method but on the same topic, so you cannot claim your study has its own novelty. So you need to do something. Okay, you need to add some different elements. Okay. So on the data collecting data, okay, it depends on the methods that you use. Okay. Okay, then we have analyzing data and then come up with the conclusions. Okay, so this is the systematic characteristic of research. Okay, problem identification, reviewing, information, data collection, analysis, drawing, conclusions. Okay. Okay. Follow a scientific methods. Okay, this is just an explanations. Okay, on the inductive and deductive reasoning. Okay. So normally for the engineering field, okay, we use the deductive reasoning, okay, and some of the time we may combine the inductive and the deductive reasoning as well. Okay. So this is some of the example, okay, on the inductive approach and under the deductive approach. Okay. But for our case, we may not obviously show the same example with this one. Okay. So we just explain, okay, by referring to the previous study and come up with our own wording that show that less study or there are no study has been carried out on these problems. Okay. So for example, on the observations on the they use the observations in the inductive. Okay. Elephant depends on water to exist. Okay. Then observe a pattern. All observed animal depends on water to exist. Then develop a theory. All biological life depends on water to exist. Okay. So that is an inductive approach. Okay. While for the deductive approach, okay, we may start with an existing theory. Okay. All biological life depends on water to exist. Okay. Formulate a hypothesis based on existing theory. All land mammal depends on water to exist. Collect data to test the hypothesis. Study all land mammal species to see if they depends on water. Then analyze the result. Does the data reject or support the hypothesis? So at the end, okay, definitely all land mammal species depend on water. Okay. Okay. So this is just an example. Okay. By using the inductive and the deductive approach. Okay. Okay. The difference between inductive and reasoning approach. Okay. Construction of hypothesis from casual observation and background knowledge. From the examination of this, the researcher established certain expectations. Okay, so that is under the inductive reasoning. Okay, while for under the deductive reasoning, reasoning out consequence or implication of hypothesis, followed by testing of the implications and confirmations or rejections of the hypothesis. Okay. Why I prefer to use the deductive reasoning? Okay. So there will be a confirmation and the rejections at the end of the methods that we use. Okay. So the finding of investigation add new knowledge to the existing structure of knowledge. Further hypotheses are generated from the existing structure, and the casual observations and testing of this may add to the new applicable knowledge. Okay. So this process continue in this manner, and therefore research become cyclic and dynamics. Okay. So that is a little bit on the inductive and deductive reasoning. Okay. So I will share a detailed explanations if you are interested. Okay. From a YouTube source. Okay. And then I put in the what we call it in the our e-learning. Okay. So it is very important, especially when you want to get the to familiarize with the problems, okay, and come up with your uh, hypothesis later on. Okay. Okay. So scientific method of inquiry, okay, generation of hypothesis, casual observations, existing structure of knowledge, okay, operationally specific testing situations, okay, implications of hypothesis. Actually, hypothesis is a guess, okay, but it should rest on the fundamental knowledge itself. Okay, you cannot put your own guess without relying on the what we call on the fundamental theory or fundamental knowledge. Okay, for example, if you increase the number of the semen content, okay, so you can increase the strength of the material. Okay, so that is the guess or hypothesis, and then you need to carry out the testing. Okay, either it is true or not. Okay, perhaps when the value of the content is what we call it is very high. Okay, so it's not very economical to use that kind of approach, or perhaps it can reach the optimum value, okay, although you keep increasing the content of the material of the cement, for example. Okay, so then from your testing, okay, you can confirm the first hypothesis that you has put in your early stage. Okay. Okay. So this is some a diagram to show what is the scientific methods. Okay. So you may start from here, do the observations. Okay. Ask a well-defined questions. Okay. Write a testable hypothesis. Okay. So when I did my PhD, okay, I come up with my own hypothesis, but at the end, okay, it's not been put in my thesis. Okay, especially also in UTM, so we not put the hypothesis in our thesis. But at the early stage, okay, we need to come out, we need to list any relevant hypothesis in our study. Okay, so make a plan, the detail of the test. Okay, do the experiments. Okay, record, evaluate, interpret, and analyze data. Okay, and then come up with the conclusions. Okay, so at the end, you need to compare your finding with the early hypothesis that you have come up. Okay, if no logical explanation, go back and rewrite the hypothesis. Okay, so that is the way how the hypothesis work and how the scientific methods for the whole programs. Okay, so critical thinking, observing all parts before drawing the conclusions. Okay, so you need to do a lot of reading. Okay, so from there you can get an idea, okay, how to criticize any, for example, any previous study, especially on the chapter 2. Okay, at the same time you need to have a critical thinking to explain, okay, what is the difference, okay, why the trends is it show a very unique pattern compared to the previous one. Okay, so hypothesis and educate guests about the outcome of an investigation. Okay, data, piece of information, critics, identifying the problem, successes, associate successes with an investigation, logical expect to happen, especially reason, cause, or an answer. Okay. Okay, so this is the checklist that commonly uh, can be used. Okay, research skill checklist. Okay, so starting from the early stage, okay, until how you may present your result. Okay, so I share here in the slide. So later on you can, if you feel that this checklist is good for you, so you can use it for your study. Okay. So research planning, okay. Okay, so you need to look on the questions. Okay, so is the title clear and ambiguous? Okay, does it accurately reflect the contents? It is concise. Okay, for the title, okay, uh, it should not more than 15 words. Okay, 15. Okay, so and then the title should reflect the content, and it should be clear. Okay, so avoid to use for example abbreviation unless if the abbreviation is commonly been understand. Okay, for example, for the site investigation, SPT is a common abbreviation. Okay, SPT is stand for Standard Penetration Test. Okay, okay. Or for example, UAV, unmanned aerial vehicle. So that is a common abbreviation. Okay, so or GIS, for example. Okay, that is a common abbreviations. Okay. Okay, abstract is the abstract. Okay, succinct overview. Okay, so you can go through this what we call as this research planning. Okay, are your objectives SMART? Okay, then I will explain what is SMART. Okay, in order for you to derive for your objective. Okay. Okay, getting started. Okay, so this is the flow chart, and your flow chart also should be designed like this. Okay, means that you should not design your flow chart straightforward. Okay, without having any branches. Okay, so you should have a branch. Okay, to show. Okay, and if or you can use what we call as a diamond shape. Okay, for example, if uh, yes or not. If not, so you need to repeat. If yes, you can continue. For example, okay, do not use only rectangular shapes. Okay, for your flow chart. Okay, under your methodology sections. Okay. Okay, so this is the procedure. Okay, review the assignment, consider your resource, choose a subject. Okay, so then you can read after this. Okay. Okay, so this is the diamond that I mentioned previously. Okay. So choose a topic, find background informations, okay, reference, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So if the topic good, if the topic narrow enough, if not, so you need to repeat again. Okay. If yes, find material. So then you can focus. Okay. So normally your supervisor know, okay, either this the topic is good to explore or not. Okay. For my case, when I did my PhD, okay, my supervisor only show me two device. Okay. For example, A and B. Okay. So let's say if I choose A, okay, then I need to think what I can make use of this A. Okay. If I choose B, so I need to think what I can make use of this B device. Okay. So at that time I choose A, then I need to come up with my own idea. Okay. So what study that I can meet. Okay. Because the previous study used this testing chamber, okay, to study on the settlement behavior of the soft clay model. Okay. And then for my case, okay, I found that it will be wise to use the deep mixing, okay, methods, okay, and then construct inside this testing chamber. Okay. So from there I explore, and then my supervisor happy, and then he asked me to proceed, okay, for the testing. Okay. So I guess most of you, okay, has already know what topic that you want to explore, and then you need to uh, do a very thorough literature review, okay, okay, to find for any gaps of the knowledge from that kind of topic. Okay. 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 Uh, do you have problems to create your own topic, or all of you have already have the topic?
Yes, Prof.
No problem, eh? Yes, you have problem or not?
Yes, I have a problem for my topic.
Okay, so can you explain what is your background of your study?
My background is analytical chemistry, but now my research is specific with environmental engineering because it's match with my goal of my organization in my office.
Oh, what type of environmental study that you are trying to
Water
investigate?
department.
Water, okay.
Yes, yeah, wastewater department.
Oh,
My research is about a contaminant of organic contaminant in river water,
okay,
kind of waste of industrial waste
okay.
and
So
trash. Mhm.
it will be a case study or what?
Yeah, case study.
Okay,
Mm-hmm. So I will make a like a mapping and a modeling and a
okay,
risk assessment,
okay.
and maybe other case. Maybe there is we can make another topic in this topic. I can make the other proposal for the next project.
Okay. So, yeah, you have the problem.
Yes, because the
It's very
industrial
clear.
waste, yeah, the industrial waste is always thrown to the river water without any without any plantation or
Ah,
uh, so they direct go to the river water. So
okay.
it can make the uh, it can make a hazard for
Environment.
those people. Yeah, environment for those
Uh,
people.
do you need to come up with with the solutions or what?
Yes, because my research is beside mapping, modeling, and risk assessment. I make technology of reduction of the contaminant, the organic contaminant. How to make to reduce that? I make the technology to reduce the organic contaminant in that field.
Oh, very clear. Good. So at the end, you come up with with the solutions. So it means that is applicable to be used. Okay.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Ah. So the problem is you have a problem with the topic in terms of how to derive the topic only.
Yeah, because the first step is I identified my problem and I make the step how to resolve how to solve the problem and
Okay.
formulated data analysis is the same with your slide.
Okay. So basically, to come up with the topic, okay. So you need
Mhm.
to you need to look on the previous journal, okay, and
Yes,
then
of course.
slightly
Previous study. Yeah.
slightly you may alter the topic to suit with your own topic, okay.
Yeah, but the different method, yeah, because there is
Yes,
yeah, Prof. Yes. There is a lot of previous study with the organic contaminant, but the different organic contaminant specifically and different method. Yeah,
definitely, okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, your topic should reflect if, for example, uh with the methods, with the problems that you want to solve, okay.
Yes,
Uh,
of course. Yeah.
and what is the outcome or the finding that you want to address, okay. For example, I want to look on the bearing capacity, okay. So my topic should have the wording of bearing capacity, or you can have a general terms, for example, the performance. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is the terms that you can use to derive your topic.
Yeah, I hope this technology can be applied with the in the environment directly, Prof. So
Good.
yeah, we can see how impact from that technology.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do agree. So you need to reflect with the content of your study. Normally, the topic should we may revise again and again. Okay. So
Yes.
during your Viva session also, the examiner will revise the topic. Okay.
Yes. Of course, Prof.
Okay. But your study looks very good. Okay, because it's very
Applicable.
yeah. It's first it is a look on the problem, and then you come up with
Yes.
the solutions. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Raden. You're from
Okay.
Indonesia, Raden.
Yes, Prof.
Okay. So I call you Raden, Tina, or Rose?
Tina, maybe.
Tina. Okay, Tina.
But my full name is Raden because I'm afraid if you hard to find my name in the list attendance.
Okay, Tina. Okay, Tina.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, thank you,
Okay.
Prof.
So thank you, Tina. Okay. Okay. Okay, then refine topic. Okay, enough information, organize material, think and synthesize, repeat process until ready to write. Okay. So during your first semester, okay, you can come up with the outline for the chapter 1 and the chapter 2. Okay. So and for example, the outline for chapter 1, introductions, and then put some points. Okay, what you want to explain, okay, in the outline for under the introduction, objective, okay. For example, if the study is 3 years, normally we should have 3 or 4 objectives, okay. Then I will discuss later on how to what we call as to develop the objective, okay. And then the significance of study, okay. Then you should have some additional notes, okay, what you want to explain, okay. Then show to your supervisor, okay. If he is happy, then you can start to expand the notes or the points that you put in your outline, okay. Okay, on the literature review, okay, introduction, okay. So for example, if Tina looking at the problems of the waste material or waste chemical product, so you need to identify what type of waste that is very hazard or not. Okay, then focus on the previous study. Okay, and perhaps for the methods. Okay, she said that she want to use a mapping methods. Okay, either she can put in the methodology. Sorry, for the methodology, you need to address the method that you will use, but the method that's been used by the previous study, you can put in the literature review. Okay. Okay, Tina. The methodology part, you only discuss on the method you use. Do not explain the previous method. All the previous method should be explained in the chapter 2.
The previous method I check in chapter 2 because different with my methodology. But
Yes.
yes, yeah.
Correct, Tina.
But the previous study is I took it some journal in the chapter 2. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, good, Tina.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. How about the rest? Any one sharing? Anyone from structure? No. Geotechnic? Beside Hidayah, Hidayah is my student. No. Okay. Hydraulic or hydrology? Okay, that's the problem if we are using the online. So if you are physical, so then I can directly ask during the class. Or are you still in fasting? Fasting, 6 day
Oh, wow.
fasting. Have you complete your 6 days fasting? Tina?
Yeah, betul, Prof.
Sudah habis
I'm in.
puasa 6.
On
Puasa 6 sudah
process,
habis.
on process.
Okay, proses. Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay. So you want to share, Tina? No.
What must I share, Prof?
No. If you want to share more?
Oh, no. Thank you.
Okay.
Enough, Prof.
Sorry. I guess during your master you did under master by research, correct?
No, by course and research. Yeah, course and research. Yeah.
In which university?
Bandung Technology Institute.
ITB.
Yes, ITB. But my background is analytical chemistry, Prof.
Okay, nice. Okay, thank you. Okay. So then we continue. We may stop 11. Okay. Then take a rest for 15 minutes. Okay. So actually, I just start my 6 days fasting today because the last week I went to carry out for a site work. Okay. Need to climb what we call it, climb a hill. Okay. To do a geological study. Okay. In Bukit Merah. Okay. For the last week. Okay. So there are I guess you can read all this content. Okay. So I just want to differentiate between several type of research. Okay. So we are more concerned on the applied research here. Okay. So we have basic, fundamental, exploratory, applied research, development research, design research. Okay. So perhaps we can go under 3 and 4. Okay. So we apply research. At the same time, we come up with our own device, for example. Okay. So we can call it as a development research. Okay. One of my students, okay, he come up with what we call as a slope monitoring systems. Okay. So the system can provide an early warning systems. Okay. So yeah, I plan to sell the system. Okay. Because I have shared this system to the Selangor government. Okay. So hopefully I can sell the system to them. So if you can also be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur. Okay. You can be a businessman. Okay. While doing your PhD. No, not doing another job, but from your PhD. Okay. So you can develop something. Okay. Then you can sell later on. Okay. So you can make money. Okay. Later on. Okay. So from 3, you can go to the 4. Okay. By producing a good system that can solve any problems related to your field background. Okay. So okay, I put in I share in a table form. Okay. In terms of the type of research. Okay. So we have a nature of problems, okay, fundamental, applied research, action research. Okay, so this has been yeah, and then there are descriptions, okay, which is to explain more on the type of the research. Okay. So then we have a nature of data or informations, okay, quantitative or qualitative approach, okay, and then if the based on the past event, so they call it as historical research, okay, and then if the present event, so we have a descriptive research, exploratory research, correlation survey. So the descriptive research is more related to her behavior. Okay, for example, if somebody under a construction management, okay, so most probably the study is related to study on the behavior of the organizations. Okay, so we can call as a social science study or social science research. Okay, so might be they use the survey form, okay, okay to get to study on the behavior, and then they have a scale from 1 to 5, for example. Okay. So okay, this is the quantitative and qualitative. Okay, so if we measure directly, for example, if we measure stress, deformations, okay, so we use a quantitative. Okay, if we measure the behavior, the what we call as the manner, okay, so we use the qualitative approach. Okay? So that's why we are more related to the deductive, okay, if we are using the quantitative, and for the qualitative is more related to inductive. Okay. Okay. So then for our case, we are more interested on the applied research. Okay, applied research focus on solving real-time problems. Applied research has a practical approach. Okay, primary concern is to stress on the development of technology and technique with the help of a basic science. Okay. Okay, so this is more detailed explanations. Okay, so then you can go through later on. So I need to skip this one. Okay. Exploratory, applied, okay. Development, research, okay. Productions, material device systems, okay. Including design, prototypes. Because yeah, now yeah, we need to make sure that our study could provide a good benefit to the community or to the society. Okay, so that's why at the end we need to come out with a very good yes, yeah, yeah. If you can make a product, it's much more better. Okay, product development, process development. Okay, okay. Designs, research is more related to process on this very specific component. Okay, it's not for the whole systems, parts and component research. Okay, this is just again on the research type. Okay, the difference between each research qualitative and qualitative, for example. Okay. Okay. So okay, before we end, we look on the research objective. Okay. So related are the specific components of the research problems that you will be working to answer or complete in order to answer the overall research problems. Okay. So the objective refer to the question to be answered through the study. Okay, they indicate what we are trying to get from the study or the expected result or the outcome of the study. Okay, make sure that when you develop your objective, okay, so it should be the outcome, okay, or the expected result, not the process. Okay, you need to differentiate the process, okay, and the outcome. Okay, so for example, the outcome is to develop a practical design chart. Okay, so that is the outcome. Okay, not the process. For example, yeah, yeah, to develop to develop to develop the design chart. Okay, the process is you need to carry out for the for example, several numerical simulation. Okay, so you do not put to what to 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 conduct for us to conduct. Okay, conduct is not uh, appropriate to be used as an objective because it is a process. Okay, okay. So make sure that your objective is not a process, but it is the outcome. Okay, this objective should be clear and achievable, and they directly assist in answering the research problem. Okay, because they call it objective, so it's not. It should be objective and clear and measurable, achievable. Okay, the objective may be specified in the form or idea statement or question. Normally we put in a statement, do not use a question. So it should be a very a statement, do not a question. Okay. Generally, they are written in as a statement. Okay, using the word to. Okay, for example, to discover, to determine, to establish. Okay. So better to use to determine. Okay, or to establish. Okay, or rather than you use to analyze. Okay. Okay, because it's still under a process. Okay, to determine is very objective. You want to get that value or to get that result. Okay, analyze is still keep on going. To study is still a process. Okay, so you need to use a very precise terms. Okay, so this is SMART. Okay, so SMART stand for specific S. Okay, so your objective should be very specific, focus. Okay, M, manageable, measurable. Okay, so measurable. Okay, it should be yeah, your objective should be measurable. Okay, for example, bearing capacity is measurable. Should be measurable. Okay, or whatever output or outcome that you want to measure. Okay, so because at the end, okay, the objective also should be shared in the methodology. Okay, so the methodology is the method that you can get your research objective. Okay, so A, attainable, achievable. Okay, so normally yeah, based on the equipment that you have. Okay, or if you feel that you need to rent from the device from the outside for the equipment, so as long it is attainable, achievable, so it can be part of your uh, uh, point to be put in your research objective. Okay, relevant, yeah, definitely it should be relevant to your study. Okay, and time bound. Okay, means that it has a time limits. Okay, because in your study you have a limitation. Okay, so make sure that whatever you put in your research objective, okay, it should manageable to be carried out with the time frames. Okay, okay, okay. So that is for the research objective. Okay. Any question before we take a rest for 15 minutes? If you want to share something. Okay. Yes or no? If not, we take a rest for 15 minutes.
No, thank you, bro.
Okay, no. Okay, no. So then we take a rest for 15 minutes. So then we meet at 11:15. Okay. Okay.
Okay, sure, bro.
Doktor.
Okay. Okay.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah. Hello?
Doctor.
Okay.
Okay, I have one question.
Aminuddin. Okay, Aminuddin. Okay.
Alright, okay. Okay, basically, apa ni? I have 4 objectives.
Okay.
Okay. One of the objective. Okay, the first objective is, I stated that to study the mechanical damage properties of concrete and steel materials after exposure to elevated temperature. But you say that to study is still a process. So
Okay.
if
So
I change,
to determine, you choose to you mention you use the term of to determine.
to determine the mechanical damage properties, or can I use to critically apa ni, review or some kind of that, or
Literature review cannot be measured.
okay. So to determine better lah.
Better. Yeah, that is my suggestion. At the end, you may discuss with your supervisor lah.
Alright. Okay.
Because
Okay, thank you.
normally we used to determine. Yeah. It looks like very means that it's not a process, but it is the final product or the final outcome.
Okay. Noted. Alright. Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay. Any question?
I'm sorry, Prof. I want to ask about next session. We
Okay.
will continue to problem formulation at 11 and 5:15.
No.
No.
Problem. I will try to complete the first slide.
Oh, okay.
So then for example, after complete all this introduction part, then I will continue under the problem formulation.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
But
Prof.
I try to finish at 3, Tina.
Okay.
Because later on, Dr. Hisham, okay, because he has another commitment tomorrow, so he will replace at 4 something. Dr. Hisham.
Yeah. After your session, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone does not join yet the WhatsApp group? Please let me know, because I need to share with Dr. Hisham. No. Okay, all of you have joined the WhatsApp group,
Yes.
Okay. So, Assalamualaikum and good morning. Okay, we meet at 11:15.
Okay, Prof. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Prof.
Anis. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, bye.
Attendance has been marked.
Sorry.
Attendance has been marked.
Okay,
The issue has been resolved. The issue which I highlights.
Okay, Anis.
Okay, sure.